showroom. Let us know when we're live, Daryl. Actually, if you just want to hold this for a second, let me grab my phone just so I can just know if Daryl messages me or whatever.
Viewers yet?
It's remember, it doesn't update live on the phone for some reason.
Right.
So it always reads 0.
Yeah.
So yeah, we're just in the pre-stream waiting room. I don't know if you have anything
Yeah,
to
we're
talk
just in the
about today.
pre-stream here, waiting room on the for the orientation. So level 1 orientation, which is really a familiarization of all the systems, and so what we hope to do here is just give you a quick run through on the systems, since your person wouldn't have had that because we didn't have the in-person orientations going on since March. So yeah, we'll kind of run through this fifth wheel, and then we'll go have a look at the actual into our orientation room. We have the systems kind of broken out so we can see an exploded view of particularly the solar system, and then we'll come together and answer questions at the end.
Yeah, let's wait for.
I think that's the plan for today.
Maybe talk a bit louder, I'd say.
I can do that. We are streaming.
Let's wait for 3:30. Give you a show around here.
Okay, give me the one more time.
3:29.
3:29, almost there.
Should be pretty close here now.
Okay, we're pretty much there.
Almost 3:29 still.
Wow.
Longest minute.
Put the kettle on, we watch the water boil.
3:30, there we go.
3:30, okay, so hi everybody. Thank you for joining us today. So our plan today, we're a little bit short-staffed today on the live chat side of things, but generally our plan for today is to go through what I call level 1 orientation on the fifth wheel. All the systems are very similar to the bumper pole trailers that we have, with a couple of little differences specifically for the fifth wheel. But what we thought we'd do this week, we're just going to do 2 live orientation streams this week. What we thought we'd do for this week is we'll do the fifth wheel first, and it gives people an idea of where the items would be for them, and then we'll go and do the 21 Classic on Thursday. We'll do a similar, essentially, live stream on Thursday with the 21 Classic, and you're more than welcome at any time to join in on these live streams, and if you have questions, ask those questions, and we'll answer them as long as they're relevant to what's going on. I think that's the key part. And for today, so I've lost my live stream, my live chat area guy for today, unfortunately. So what we're going to do is have a bit of a backup plan here. Is I'm going to go through and give this level 1 orientation, familiarize you with different systems and items, and then Dave's going to join me around 4 o'clock, and then we'll sit down and we'll do sort of around 15 minutes of answering. And any questions that we don't get answered, as we may simply run out of time, any questions that we don't get answered, we'll take this away, because of course we save this live stream, and we'll make sure we get back to you and answer those questions later.
So are you?
Okay. So the main thing, guys, is you can watch anonymously, so no problem with that. But if you want to chat or sign in or have comments to us, part of the conversation, then you need to sign in, which would mean creating an account on Twitch, which is probably one of the easiest, most user-friendly tools to sign in on. So let's get going with the live stream here today. One of the key points. Oh yeah, sorry, I'm Carl. I'm Carl at Escape Trailers. In case you don't know. Of course, I know who I am, so I forget that.
And I'm Harrison, here to Escape, cameraman.
Harrison's going to do the camera work for me today, so that's great. Okay, key thing we're trying to get across to you is from an orientation perspective. There's a lot of information to sort of absorb initially, so please come back to the live streams. We're going to keep going on the live streams, so keep coming back to them. You can watch the old footage that we have. The whole value of a live stream purely over a YouTube video is that you can watch it as you have a question. You can ask the question, and then we'll endeavor to get that question answered for you. So it might be a little bit quicker for you in terms of the learning process than just trying to go through the orientations on online videos where you can't really ask questions. So it's more about asking questions. Key thing, and we're going to rework, oops, it's part of my show, but something we're going to rework is this drive away checklist. So every new owner of an escape trailer should have this laminated checklist. The idea for this laminated checklist is to keep you safe when you're packing up to go on your journey. And what we will do is today we'll just kind of go through this checklist and point out some of the other sort of key items in the trailer. If you've built your trailer from custom, you've spent a lot of time already talking with Linda or Jolie or Melissa about these systems, so you probably have a reasonable understanding of how things work. Okay, let's get going on this one, Harrison. So the fifth wheel. We come to our fifth wheel. I think we'll start off with a quick, should we do the exterior to the interior? So we'll just move exterior to interior. So let's just say I'm on my fifth wheel. I have on this we have the option of the power awning. So if it's a power awning, you can simply retract. We can retract the power awning. So we bring the power awning back in. This one has the LEDs on it. So it is now retracted. We have the LEDs on it. I can bring the LEDs on or off from the switch on my power awning control unit. Now, very important point with power awnings or with your manual awning, make sure it's locked before you start traveling. Now, this falls and hits off something, it's going to want to deploy very quickly. We do not want this deploying when you're going down the road. So there is a power button, a disconnect switch. This is the only thing I'm going to talk about on the inside here, just because it relates directly to this. So down the bottom on the trailer, if you have a power awning.
Okay, we're back now.
We're back. Okay. All right. Sorry, guys. Live stream woes. Hopefully things will stay solid for us here. So, like I said, with the power awning, there's an isolator switch. We flick this isolator switch to off, which I've done. And once the isolator switch is off, then we have no power going to the awning. And with no power going to the awning, it cannot deploy unwanted as we're driving down the road. Okay, so that's a very important thing is powering off your awning, closing your windows and powering off your awning, or pulling it back and powering it off, very important. Okay, on the outside of your trailer, you have your porch light, and your porch light is switchable from the exterior and from the interior as well. You're going to want to go on the inside, pull all these windows back in. We'll show that a little bit later. If you have the optional exterior shower, of course you already know how this goes in, but you're going to want to disconnect your shower and obviously make sure these are off. Should have been off before I did that. And I'll put this away into the storage hatch as I move back down. As I move back down, we have the vent hood. So this is the range hood in here. This range hood needs to be open when you have your range hood on, but during travel you want to clip that off so it's secure and in place. Okay, moving back around this way. Once we get to this point, we're going to want to close the hatch. So close the hatch, lock it up. Moving around the back, again closing up our windows, very important. Come around to the side. This trailer has the removable power cord in place, so we can disconnect this, pull the power cord out, and that will kill power to the trailer. These are our fill connections for water. So we have our city water in. It has a one-way check valve on here, and this cone needs to be pointing outwards. So the one-way check valve allows water to go in but not come out. If you take this out and you put it in backwards, when you turn your water pump on, it's going to eject water. So that's your city fill, and then this is your hose fill. So you can put your hose straight in there and fill your fresh water. So this is your fresh water fill area. As I move through, this is your tank, your water heater in your tank. This is the optional one that has that is the 120 volt AC option, so we can heat it by AC and by propane. One thing to note, make sure there's water in there if you're using the AC to heat it, and you can test your water by pulling on this relief valve that's going to dribble or squirt water out at you if it's full. So if you're using electrical heating element and there's a switch down here for on and off on the electrical heating element, you need to make sure there's water in there first, or it'll burn the element out and that gets expensive. Okay, fridge, nothing to worry about on the fridge side of things. This is your propane heater. We'll get into that when we talk about level 2 or level 3. Of course, it's all in your manual. Very important to read the manual. People talk about replacing sail switches and different things in here. This will be your access location. So it's nice and handy where we can access it from the exterior. Moving along into our dump valves. And of course we have a nice light so we can see what we're doing in the dark. You would remove your sewer tube or sewer hose. We would connect it on here. So we'll screw this off, connect our hose on here. Start off by pulling black, dump the black, and then close the black, pull the grey, clean your sewer hose out with the grey water. So you clean everything out, pull it back in, take the hose off, screw it back on, and put the hose away down the sewer tube holder, which is on the rear of the trailer. So I'll show you there. Okay, fifth wheels only. You have your landing gear or jacks here on the front. The switches for the jacks are inside this hatch, and there's 2 switches I can see in here, and I got up and I got down on those, or the other way around, up and down, backwards. Also have a shut off valve in there for the toilet. Again, we would close this down, lock it off, take the key away. That is that one. Okay, another exterior shower on this trailer. Same deal, make sure the valves are closed and that the hose is put away. This one also has cable TV connection, so we would disconnect our cable TV. Coming around the front, depending on the state that you're in, or your comfort of driving along with propane turned on. So our propane bottles obviously are underneath there. So you would turn off your propane, unless of course you want to keep your propane running, to keep your fridge running. And some states allow it and some states don't, so you have the option to turn it off from in there. I would close up all the hatches and lock everything away. Okay, moving around, this one has the optional digital keypad, but it still has key locks in it as well. So you would have your deadbolt and then your latch lock. Okay, moving inside the trailer. Alright, as we move inside the trailer, we've already talked about the awning power switch, which has been turned off. If it's a power awning, you have your fire extinguisher in place in this trailer. Then we have two light switches. This one is the center lights in the trailer, and the lights in the trailer are all manually activated as well, so we can turn them on and off from the switches that we have here. But this inboard switch only works on the center lights, as we can see, center lights on and off. This outboard switch is for our exterior light, which you can probably see lighting up and turning off. So that's exterior lights, or exterior light can be switched off that as well. Moving into the trailer, I'm just going to take a quick left here. So we come into the trailer and get everything away. So put all your items into the appropriate locations for storage and during transport. Let's look at our cooker here. So this is the 2-burner cooktop that we have. Operation is very basic, very simple. Turn your gas on, assuming your propane is on. You have propane in your tanks. Filled propane tanks is an option, although we can't do it when it's a delivery going to people. So you need to fill your tanks, make sure there's propane in your tanks, then you can turn the gas on from here and ignite. So just like any normal residential stove in that way. If you have the oven and you want to activate the oven, turn the oven on, there's a pilot light you need to light inside the oven, and you can keep that lighting while you're parked if you want. Vent fan, so we'll turn the vent fan on and off. Vent fan is now off. Moving on to my display panel. Display panel here has my water heater and my water pump, and typically water heater you can leave on, especially if we're connected to AC, and it will automatically control itself. The water pump, some people will leave it on and let it just run as and when they need water. It's generally easier to just turn it on and off as and when you need it. It will run itself after a little bit of time just to keep moving, so it's going to activate. Maybe at night time when you're trying to sleep, you'll hear this pump coming on and off. So just use it as when you need it, turn it on and off. We have our battery, our fresh water, our black water, and our grey water, and these lights indicate how much fluid or battery we have. So at this point we have full battery, fully charged. We have practically no fresh water. Our black is empty, which is good, and so is our grey. So it's your quick display and tell you what's going on in your system. As I move around, I'm just going to point out some of the electrical items that we have in this trailer. So this is a U-shaped dinette. Anything that's sitting in the back of the U-shaped dinette will be kind of shoved around to the sides of the dinette if you had the straight bench seats in place. As I work our way through here, this is the inverter, and this one, and here are the batteries. Inverter and the batteries. Okay, and if I look on the front, I have the solar controller. So this unit has a solar panel on the roof. So here's my solar controller, and this is controlling the charge that's going to the battery. And we'll talk a little bit more in a bit more detail about the charging system, especially the solar charging system, when we go into our orientation room. There's an example of the power cable all coiled up. That's a removable power cable. Battery box and batteries. Then we have our fuse box. Fuse box is in here. This is our electrical management system, and it's got the smart surge protector on there. Our battery disconnect is here. This is our battery disconnect, okay, which is currently off, like that. And on the front here we have our readout. This is the readout for your electrical management system. And we'll talk a bit about this as well when we go into the orientation room. This is really important for determining any error codes that you might have on your electrical supply into your trailer. Tank, hot water. And this is your water pump sitting on this side. Again, items that we would go into a little bit more detail in the manual, or when we get into our level 2 and even level 3 orientation, you could say more advanced maintenance type work. But just to know where they are, that's the main thing. propane detector here down the bottom, and they can be sensitive to a lot of CO, carbon monoxide will be detected in there as well. So it can, with the mixture of chemicals and sometimes off-gassing, when the trailer is all cooped up, especially if it's brand new, this can be quite sensitive, which is what you want, and it may go off on you. Okay, into our fridge. We'll talk a little bit more about the fridge when we get into the orientation room. This is our 6 cubic foot fridge. On and off is up here. Typically we throw it into auto, and when we throw it into auto, it'll modulate between AC and gas depending on your input conditions. So if you're running on, if you have AC plugged in, it'll default to AC rather than to being on propane. But if the AC shuts off, it's going to switch straight over to propane. You would have to manually move it from AC to DC. DC we almost don't even want to talk about, because DC comes straight from your batteries, and this will drain your batteries exceptionally fast. In terms of the level of coldness that you would want to put it on, I'd say put it on number 3 and leave it on number 3, unless especially if you're trying to cool down. It doesn't matter how cold you make it, it's not going to get any colder any quicker. So if you put it on 3 and the fridge is warm, it's going to work as hard as it possibly can to get down to 3. Get it to there first, and then decide whether you want to go, whether you need to go a little bit cooler in your fridge. Okay, that's our fridge. We've got air conditioning above head. On this one, air conditioning is controlled from, because when it's installed at time of build, the air conditioning is controlled from digital thermostat. The digital thermostat in the fifth wheel is up on the wall here. So the wall in the bed area, we have the digital thermostat, and it is capacitive touch, which is, so pretend you're on an airplane and you're not trying to push too hard onto the seat in front of you. You want to be a little bit more gentle. So it is simply a tap. You don't want to push too hard. It's capacitive, and there's some foam in behind here. You push too hard, you're gonna throw all your settings off on this, or simply not going to work. So a very gentle touch is required on it. This is now powered on, and we can see the different levels of control we have with the fan and different items. And there she comes. And if I cycle through, I can turn it off. Now it will turn itself off here in a second. So there we go. So the control for the fan in my air conditioning unit and for our air conditioning works from the digital controller. You either have heating or you have cooling. It's not going to cycle between one and the other. All right, so it's you're either on heating or you're on cooling, and it will also control your furnace at the same time from this digital controller. Okay, in place there. So that's good to note on that one. If you do not have, I would say the majority of people put air conditioning in their units, but if we happen to build an inventory unit and you put air conditioning into it, and we didn't have air conditioning in the first place, you would not have a digital controller. You would have the analog controller for the furnace, and then you would run your air conditioner manually. So you can install air conditioning afterwards if you want, but you just would not have a digital controller in place. All right, as I move around here, last thing, couple of things to talk about. Max fan. So every trailer has a max fan unit in it. This is your lock. So push up to lock, push down to unlock, or pull down to unlock. Now you can travel with this open or with it closed. If it were closed, I would close it down, make it just a little bit snug, and then push this up to lock it. If I was using it, I would open it. Oops, drop my finger. Open it, and then the controls are actually really simple on this side. We can turn it on and off. We can make it suck or blow, and then we can also set it to 78 degrees Fahrenheit. And we have controls, so we can turn the speed up and down. So I just turn this one on, and turn it up full blast. There, now that is pulling air out. If I can reverse it, so we can blow air in. air movement, and that was just by pushing it so you can quickly turn them around, or I can push and hold it to set or reduce the speed, the fan speed. So it was a very versatile, useful piece of equipment here. And we'll turn that off. Turn it off, close it down, lock it out if we're traveling, or you can leave it open as well. The exit on the fifth wheel. So the fifth wheel have this emergency exit over the bed. That's required by regulation and code, and it just has a knob on it. So you cycle the knob, and it'll pull the cover down and pull it up nice and snug. All right, last thing we have to talk about. We didn't talk about the bathroom. So in the bathroom, always a good idea to lock your drain by turning it clockwise. So counterclockwise opens it up, and then clockwise just to lock the drain in place. And the last thing to consider in the bathroom is your fan. So we will push that up to close it off, and we pull it down to open it up. So nothing. She's sucking air. Okay, so our bathroom vent fan. Okay, so that's everything inside the trailer. I don't think we have anything else inside this trailer. We talked about the lights, we talked about all the areas. So let's wander down to the orientation room, and we'll have a look at the electrical system setup. Okay, I'm going to start off, give ourselves about 3 minutes here. I'm going to start off by pretending we've come to the campsite, and I'm plugging this trailer into 120 volt at the campsite. Of course, we give you this adapter, so you can adapt onto your power cord. Okay, that's plugged in, and we're looking for this light to turn on. When this light turns on, we have power. Quick thing to remember: there's a 3 minute delay on here while it goes through and determines is the power correct. So we'll come back to this area in a couple of minutes. So when you come to your campsite, plug in, wait 3 minutes. If you have anything but E0, then we've got a problem and we probably want to move campsite. Okay, we'll start off. Every trailer comes with batteries, or battery, depending. And then that battery can be charged in different ways. Obviously it will charge from your vehicle, it can charge if you're plugged into 120 volt AC at the campsite, and it will also charge from the solar panel. So very popular these days are the solar charging systems. This is a 190 watt solar panel, it delivers about 9.3 amps at its maximum, so it's full sun, nice and clean. The only thing this does is feed power down into the solar controller, and then the solar controller determines how much power we're going to send, or current we're going to send down into the batteries. The only thing this does is charge your batteries. It does not power any of the appliances inside your trailer. That power all comes either from your DC from your battery converted to AC, or well, to your lights as well from 12 volt, or it comes from the 120 volt AC you have in your plugged into your trailer. So solar panel through the solar charger down into the battery charges the battery. If you opt for the inverter, then what you're going to do is take the DC power from your battery, it's going to route up through your inverter, convert it to AC 110 volts, and then that 110 or 120 is going to be distributed around the plugs in your trailer. Two options there. Option one is that you just have a single plug which directly comes out of here, and the second option is we put in a small sub panel. See, we're good. We put in a small sub panel and you can have power to all the plugs in your trailer. One very major exception If you ask us for a convection microwave, we know you're planning to put a convection microwave in place, that plug that would normally be reserved for a microwave will not be powered by the inverter. And the reason for that is typically it's going to draw too much current and it will burn your wires out. So if you choose a convection one, it would not be powered by the inverter, but everything else will. Okay. So that's our inverter. If you have the inverter, then the option for turning the inverter on is on your solar controller. Again, the manual is the best place to go for all of this, and obviously we can tell obviously we're on flooded batteries, so we can tell how much charge is going in or how much charge is in your trailer batteries from here. And this also has a Bluetooth capability now, so that we can you can connect this to your phone. All right, battery disconnect switch. So we have a battery disconnect here. This is the new style battery disconnect. This was the old style battery disconnect. So the battery disconnect, essentially disengages the power supply into your from the battery to all the items inside your trailer. So it will remove any parasitic losses that you might have, for example, in the propane detector, which does take power. So if you're shutting down for an extended period of time, you would throw the battery disconnect to kill the power. It doesn't stop you charging your batteries. You can still charge your batteries, especially from your solar. Okay, working our way through. That's an important part of the system. It's the electrical management system, and it has a surge protector in here. Now, something very important. Here's the display. It tells you what's going on. So within here, we now see we have E0. So it popped up with E0 there as normal. The error codes are on here. When you plug your trailer in, when you come to your campsite and you plug your trailer in, you want to wait 3 minutes. So it's kind of, it's challenging to plug your trailer in, get everything unpacked, and then find that you have a problem. And what mostly happens in these campsites is you end up with a reverse polarity, which will come up as an E1. So if that comes up as an E1, then you're going to need to move campsite for the night. Otherwise, you won't have power. If you're using a generator, generators have a floating ground, not a fixed ground. You would flip this over from normal use to bypass mode, and that will enable you to run a generator. Okay, so this is on a 3-minute delay. That's why we say plug it in. Make sure this comes up with E0 first. You know you're good to go. You can unhitch and unpack and get set up. Very good. Okay, walk our way through. Perfect timing, Dave. Dave has joined us. Thank you, Dave.
Yep.
Bunch of deliveries going on today, so we got real busy. We've already talked about the water heater, and if you have the two-way water heater, just making sure you have fluid inside the heater off this little relief valve here, and the switches, of course, down there for turning on and off the power. We'll get into much more detail on this water heater later, but there are videos that the guys have done, uploaded onto YouTube, which talk about taking out the anode and doing the maintenance and service on this item. And that's not something you need to do when you first got your trailer. So, we're trying to keep this at level 1, which is to get you going and get you moving to camping, and not have everybody worrying about thinking that they need to take anodes out immediately when they get their trailer. Not necessary. Okay, moving on. So I think we've covered off pretty much everything else. We covered off this. We didn't show this, so if you have an analog controller in your trailer, it will look just like a very basic thermostat you would have seen in houses. And then they still go into houses. These are the old Mercury ones.
Yeah.
Mercury inside them. I probably saw that. We talked about the display already. So we've gone through that, water heater, water pump, and your tank levels, all displayed. I think we've been through the vent fan, or the different styles of vent fan. We have cup tops, all come with some sort of cover on them, so I just want to make sure that is lowered and secured. And we talked about the fridge, we talked about the on switch, and then the auto switch, and then running between gas and AC, and the fact that you have to manually move it to DC, which we would say sort of keep that option to those who really know what they're doing and are very diligent about it. Because worst case, you have this in DC, you're driving your car, you park up somewhere, you may come out and you have no battery left in your car, or your trailer for that matter, and nobody wants that. So that explains all of that. Okay, so I think I'm almost bang on time. I actually stretched out just a little because I was like, I'm not sure if I'm gonna make it. So what we agreed here was, Dustin had a prior appointment, so we're gonna kind of round this off here at this point. Dave and I are gonna go jump in the trailer. We'll pull up the chat feed, see if we have any questions, and we'll just I think we'll answer those questions verbally to people, so at least you get a straight up answer on it. And anything more complicated or something that we can't answer or that requires some detail and something written, we'll take it away for later. Okay, we'll go jump in the trailer. We'll jump to the 21 track. You young man. Sorry. And I'll go for 40. What about young man? Younger man. All right, buddy. We're in together. We'll let Harrison go on the other side. We'll go on here. Okay. Sorry, H. Good job you have a slider on these tables.
See how much fits in here? Three
all
big
these
boys.
all these power bellies. On the other side. All right. Look at you, Dave. You're so happy.
Oh, yeah, always.
I guess it's 4 o'clock.
It's almost 4:30.
Almost 4:30. All right, I'm going to need my my tech whiz here to get me onto the chat area. Oh, hang on a sec. Just up there.
There you go. No questions so far.
Oh, okay.
Oh, it's even easier.
Well, then, if there's no questions,
We're good.
then everybody understands it. So you shouldn't be getting any questions then through email and
I tell you.
stuff, I
I'll
guess.
take tomorrow off.
Yeah. Okay. Well, no questions unless the chat room is not working, which is entirely possible.
I think we're good.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I guess thanks very much, everybody. I don't think there's any other tips or tricks we need to put across to people. So we'll say, hey, keep watching the recorded live streams. I should say the same thing every week or every time I do it, albeit that the fifth wheel is just a little bit different because it has some items that some of the other trailers don't have. Landing gear, emergency window, emergency exit, pardon me, on top. But other than that, a lot of the systems are the same. So once you know it for one escape, you know it for all escapes. And I guess people on the escape travel trailers and the forum are all very helpful for people who have questions or challenges with things. But if there's something you simply can't figure out, then I would say send us an email and we'll be sure to get on and look after you. All right.
Perfect.
Bye from me.
Survey.
Glad I could help.
Survey. Yeah. So if anybody is online and they weren't able to get to the chat or whatever happened, please fill out our survey form. Let us know how we can improve this, make it better. Whether we need to change the personnel who are doing the delivery, or we need to change the content, or we need to immediately take it to something at a higher level. But let us know, and we'll do our best to improve these live streams. All right.
Right.
Okay.
Goodbye.
Thank you, everybody. Escape Trailer built just for you.